Words of affirmation are extremely important in our relationship. Today, we're going to take a look at that word and figure out a drill that'll help us show our wives love every single day. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Husband's Coach's Corner, the podcast that teaches husbands how to love their wife every day and become better men in the process. I'm your host, Chris Scott, aka the Husband Coach.
So, welcome back to another episode of the Husband Coach's Corner. Today, we're going to be looking at the 5 love languages, but focusing in on words of affirmation. If you've never heard of the 5 love languages, they are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and acts of service. Each of these love languages help us as husbands learn how to show our wives love every single day. And that's exactly what we try to do right here on this podcast and on the channel on YouTube. So today we're going to dive into words of affirmation. Now, this is one of my favorite love languages, not because it's my love language, but because it is a universal love language. Everyone loves compliments, right? Doesn't matter who you use this on. If you compliment someone, they'll say thank you, and it'll either one, make them really happy, or two, they'll just say thank you, and then that'll be the end of it. But today, we're going to look at how we can use words of affirmation to show our wife love and help her overcome some of her insecurities if she has some, or just feel more confident with the insecurities that she does have. Because as her husband, we want to make sure that we're showing our wives love in a way that is resonating with her and that she receives. Now, if you've never heard of the love languages before, each one of those love languages, we all possess them and they change over time. But we, like our listening style, have a preference of the love language or the love language that we prefer. It's important that you know your love language and that you know your wife's love language. So in order to help you with that, in the show notes on any of the podcast platforms, you can find a test that will take you to a love language quiz. And if you're on YouTube, just go down into the description box and you'll also find a quiz that will take you to the 5 love language test. And then you'll know what your love language is. If your wife happens to do the test, which I highly recommend you get your wife to do it, then send her over, get the love language, and then you'll be able to really communicate. But today, regardless of what your wife's primary love language is, we're going to focus on words of affirmation. And I have a really good drill that regardless of if it's her primary, a secondary, or her last one, it'll still help with your relationship. So let's go. So, words of affirmation. What the heck are these things? Well, it's simply an encouragement towards your wife. It's important that we encourage our wives because, as I mentioned before, they have insecurities, just like we have insecurities. But these insecurities can come from childhood hurts, childhood problems, and then you get into the marriage with your wife, and she could be still holding on to some of that baggage. Or she could have been from a divorced marriage, and now you're married to her, and she's still holding on to those insecurities from whatever happened to her in the previous marriage. So, moral of the story, insecurities are real, and you are her closest, most intimate partner. You should be the one that sets her at ease when it comes to those insecurities. Words of affirmation are a wonderful way of being able to do that. So words of affirmation, we have to share them with our wives because they just simply can't read our minds. So we have to let them know what we think about them and how we love them in our minds. Sharing your words of affirmation, hearing them out loud, and having your wife receive them is a game changer for many marriages. It helps with communication. It helps build trust. It helps build confidence. It helps build love. It helps build intimacy. There are so many things that hearing you say, this is what I think about you, and here's why, in an encouraging way, right? We're not talking about negative or bad things. We're talking about loving ways of expressing how we feel towards our wife. That's what I'm talking about, and words of affirmation are absolutely going to help out, especially if this is her primary love language. And again, we go through seasons. Sometimes the love language changes, sometimes it stays the same all the time, and you're good to go. All right, so now that you know a little bit more about words of affirmation, let's go ahead and head into the drill. This one, it doesn't necessarily have a name. I'll come up with a name for it probably at a later date, but this is a really cool drill. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to write down 7 compliments about your wife. All right. It doesn't matter if you type them out on your phone or an iPad, computer, whatever. You're just going to write down 7 compliments. And these compliments can be a sentence. They can be words that describe your wife. I recommend that you put them into sentence form, however, because we want to be able to articulate what it is, right? You don't want to say you're confident. Well, thank you. That's not a heartfelt, warm, loving sentence. Instead, what we want to say is, in the eyes of whatever is going on, you still remain confident and unshaken. And that is a quality that I find extremely attractive in you. Those are the types of sentences that we want to come up with when we're articulating to our wife. Okay? Or writing down the compliments for our wife. Now, we want to share one compliment with her every day for the rest of the week, right? So you're going to write them down today, and then for the rest of the week, the 7 days that are coming, just share one of those compliments every day. All right? Be very intentional and share one of those compliments with her every day. It could be a 1 to 2 sentence thing. And prepare for this to lead to a conversation at times, because she may say, hey, whoa, where's this coming from? You never do this. Then explain to her, like, hey, I want to show you love, and I believe words of affirmation are a great way. You can even, this will be a perfect way, if your wife has never heard of the 5 love languages, segue into, well, hey, there's these 5 love languages. Why don't you go ahead and take a look at this quiz and let me know what your love language is. Here, I took the quiz. Look at what my love language is. That's a really good way to segue into that. So, all right. So we already got share the one compliment with your wife every single day. Make sure to deliver the compliment. This is very important, all right? You have to deliver the compliment at or around the same time. I would say within a 30-minute window on either side. So if you deliver the compliment at 9 o'clock every single day, then at 8:30 to 9:30, somewhere in that window, you should be delivering the compliment. The reason for this is it builds consistency, it builds anticipation, it builds excitement. So in your wife, I should say. Now, the reason why this is important is because you have your wife coming to you and she's feeling more at ease, and she's excited to hear what her husband has to say about her. Remember, I told you that this helps build confidence in areas where our wives are insecure. When you can build a consistent environment for your wife to come to you and feel confident and comfortable when you are telling her about things that maybe don't always make her feel warm and fuzzy, but you can turn those insecurities into a bonding moment for the two of you, you have no idea how that's going to skyrocket your marriage and build your relationship in a way that you will not even understand until you start doing it. You want to be consistent, and you want to show her that you're there for her every day. And you're going to be doing this for a week. Now, I get it. You guys could have just had a huge argument and you're not talking. Look, guys, rise above whatever the situation is. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're going to fight for your marriage, you want to send your wife words of affirmation. Even if it's in a text message, All right. And she is absolutely going to open up the text message. She may be like, yeah, whatever. He's just trying to make up for whatever he did. Continue on with the drill. All right. Now, obviously, outside of the drill, you're going to need to continue with your communication and work through that conflict. I have a podcast and video about how to deal with conflict for husbands. But the moral of the story, you really, really, really want to hone in on showing your wife these affirmations every single day. All right. So now that you have her building confidence and excitement, and she's just expecting you to show up every single day with this word of affirmation or words of affirmation, whatever it is, after that 7-day period, I want you to just ask your wife, how did it feel for me to bring you into your insecurities and talk about them and give you confidence and encouragement in areas that you don't feel the most confident about? This conversation, have it over a cup of coffee or whatever, doesn't really matter. But this conversation, it's a really vulnerable and intimate moment. Because of this drill, you have now given yourself the in so that you can sit down and have this really, for her, an uncomfortable conversation. And she still may not even be ready at the end of a week. But now that you have shown her that you do recognize the insecurities, but you also recognize ways that she's overcoming those things, and you're proving to her that you're willing to be there to help her through these things, she is, and then you're also very consistent, because again, dropping it off or delivering that word of affirmation at or around the same time, it builds consistency. And the expectation is, oh, I can be confident in this insecurity that I have, and my husband sees it, he loves me, and he wants to work with me through it. So when you get to the end of the week, you can say, hey, look, here's, now that you know how I feel about your insecurities, how does it feel when I tell you these things? And then you go into that conversation. Like, guys, this is gold. This is legitimate gold. All right. I don't know any other way of getting your wife to feel comfortable about talking about things that she doesn't want to talk about. And I'm telling you this because from experience with my wife, this has helped us bond over things that she never thought that I seen in her, or she never knew that I seen in her, at least. And it helped me bond with her about things that I didn't even know she was being insecure about, that I didn't even see as a problem, but she believed it to be. So in her mind, she built this reality, and she was tiptoeing around situations that she didn't have to. And when we were able to talk about it, I helped her ease her mind, and it's not a problem. It's not an insecurity anymore. These are the things that I'm talking about. Finding ways to love our wife every day. It gets to that point, but you have to put in the work every single day. Now, here's a bonus tip. All right, bonus tip. Write it on an index card. All right, write it on an index card. Especially if it's something that's a deep insecurity that has caused issues in your relationship in the past. This is where you take that insecurity and you turn it in. You tell your wife exactly how you feel about whatever that insecurity is, and what you see as an encouragement to help her get over or to become more relaxed with that insecurity. And then tape it somewhere where you know she's going to go every single day, and hopefully it's a place that she visits at the same time. So if you're delivering, and I forgot to mention this, send your words of affirmation in the morning. Don't wait until the afternoon to send your words of affirmation. Do it first thing in the morning when she wakes up. If you can get up, like I get up before my wife. If you get up before your wife, then set your words of affirmation somewhere near the bed, so that way she can wake up and roll out of the bed and see that you are already thinking about her. Now that works on a whole nother level, that you are showing your wife you're willing to go the extra mile to show her love. Man, yeah, look, I'm dropping all kinds of great advice for you guys today. And it's just exciting. I love to be able to share this with you. Look, the moral of the story is we want to show our wives that we love her. Give her the words of affirmation first thing in the morning so she can start her day knowing how her husband feels about her and thinks about her. She can wake up affirmed that her husband is there for her and loves her and cares for her. This will help immensely with your relationship, because we've already discussed in previous episodes where our wives, when they're happy, they reciprocate that and they make us happy. All right. And you could take that however you wish, but moral of the story, the more we increase our wife's happiness, the more happy we become as husbands. And it's not like a trade-off thing, but it is absolutely, when we show our wives love and they get happy, then they just want to return the happiness. My wife likes to quote that every time I make her happy, she takes what I give her and then she multiplies it and returns it to me in a way that, makes me happy. And we're just constantly in this cycle. It's not cupcakes and rainbows in our marriage, just to put things into perspective. But we do have a very healthy relationship, and we have a great way of communicating our words of affirmation to one another. Got off on a tangent. My bad. One of the notes that I do want to make, though, what you think about your wife's insecurities are extremely important. Don't take those for granted. You are her most intimate, deepest, closest partner. It is so important that she knows exactly how you feel, why you feel it, and when you feel it. So don't hold that stuff in. All right, so I'll roll up into some of the keys for this drill, and I'll go over these pretty quickly. Okay, so number one, don't prompt your wife for feedback when you give her the words of affirmation. All right, don't be the dude who leaves the index card on the nightstand and then you're standing out the door waiting for her to open the door and be like, hey, did you get my words of affirmation? What do you think about that? All right. The follow-up time is at the end of the drill, at the end of the week, after you've already given all of the other information. All right. That's very important. We don't want to prompt her. We want her to respond to us naturally. Now, depending on where you are in your relationship, she may run out of the room and be like, you thought about me. And then other times she may take it and rip it up. Don't be discouraged. Continue to show her love. I promise you, if you are willing to fight for your marriage, you are going to see true return on your investment. I promise that. One of the key things about this drill, while you are going through it, I want you to pay attention to your thoughts. I've said in previous episodes, men, we don't spend enough time with our thoughts. So writing it down on paper helps us articulate a lot of the things that happen around in our head, and we tend to just say some silly things at times. And lastly, if this drill becomes a challenge because you never really think of positive things to say to your wife, one, shame on you for that, all right? But this is an opportunity for you to build up your repertoire. I don't even know if I said that right. Whatever. Look, this is a great opportunity for you to share positive thoughts with your wife, because there was a reason you married her. Affirm those things, all right? But get to know her insecurities and be the loving, gentle husband that loves your wife every single day. It's that simple. Find a way to love your wife every single day. And guys, I'm not telling you that it's going to be easy every day. There are some days where I'm like, oh man, Crystal got me mad. I don't even want to deal with her right now. but I still go out of my way to show her that I love her. And it's always based off of her love language, which my wife's love language is quality time. So it's hard sometimes because it's like, man, I don't want to spend time with you right now, but I know that you value quality time and this is how you understand I love you. So I'm going to spend the time with you because our relationship, our marriage matters that much to me. So there you have it. Well, that was words of affirmation. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to go over the other 4 love languages and give you guys some really cool drills that you can use. But this week, just go through the drill, take it one day at a time, embrace your wife, and love her every single day. Guys, I want to thank you for hanging out. If you got questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you're on the podcast, come over to YouTube. Go ahead and give your boy a subscribe and hit that thumbs up if you're finding value in this content. If you got specific questions, you can hit me up at husbandcoach2020@gmail.com. All that information is in the show notes or the description box below. Check out that love language quiz. And until next time, I want you guys to find a way to love your wife every single day. Peace.